I have waited so long to tell you guys this story. Um, I can't tell you all the details, but I wrote a book, so you can go online and check that out. But what I want to just say is that I had an experience. I'm 45 now. When I was 28, I had an experience where an invisible force came into my life and actually broke my hip. And yeah, at one point it did guide me to understand that it was like a connection to the family of Abraham. And I was guided to learn how Abraham, or I haven't told this story in so long. I feel like it's not Abraham, Jacob. Jacob. Um, Jacob had wrestled with God and broke his hip. And so at that time that was happening, that happened to me, I had a completely normal life. I owned a home with my husband. We had dogs, we had parties, we had popularity, we had success. I worked for the mayor and city council. We were connected like globally. We would go on vacations practically every single weekend, not internationally, but everything was like fine and normal on the outside, but on the inside, I started to like want to read and be interested in different things than that whole scene was. And so I realized it wasn't really my life. And all at this same time, like immediately, as soon as these like new ideas started to come out in me, which I can't explain, there was a series of events that took place. And about a year and a half into that, after some pretty wild things, it's all in the book. I want it to be turned into a film, actually. I was actually out at a sushi bar with a group of girls after a baby shower. We had all been drinking. So I was outside on my cell phone talking to my ex-boyfriend, and he was trying to get me to drive to see him. And I was gonna, and right when I told him that I would, after all the pressure that he put me into, I felt this whack on the back of my head, and instantly I was like, I could see the wall in front of me, because the certain area I was in was just like a little nook, and I was like, I'm gonna hit the wall and I'm gonna fall on the ground, and then I'm gonna get up and ask who thought that was funny. And I actually never was it well I wasn't able to stand up at that moment, because after being taken to the hospital after hours and hours, what had happened was my femur head, the ball of my femur bone, which is a ball. Okay, so the femur is the largest bone in the body, and then it has a head, and the head is inside of the hip socket. The femur broke in half, and half of it came out, and half of the I was gonna say wood, but bone stayed inside. And so I can't express the pain. All the details are in the book. But by the time the surgery took place, the doctor was awesome. Thank you. Because instead of opening me up and giving me a new hip, he saw that the break was so clean that he just was like, let me put the bone back in there, and then bones fuse really well, so we can avoid maybe a larger surgery. But if that doesn't happen, then we can try the next thing. But it worked. I woke up from the surgery, and he said that it totally laid together perfectly, and just to go to therapy for it. And so that was pretty shocking for me to realize, like, nothing hit me. I was basically up against a wall, so it was nothing but energy. And like I said, this was a time in my life. So there had been a series of events that took place in this short period of time that led me, after breaking my hip, to being at home in my backyard on my yoga mat. And I just said, I said to God, what is going on with my life? And I heard God say, you're not living your life for God. And I was like, what does that mean? And I just went on a journey, and I was guided the whole way. And there was some extremely metaphysical, organic, supernatural things take place. And this happened in a short period of time. And I've always known, I have a very like intuitive psychic relationship with life. I've always had it my whole life. Like my mom will be like, go find the keys. And I'll be like, okay, find them. You know, like I just know things. I can talk to energy. It's never been a second thought to me. I didn't realize not everybody did it. And so all these things basically led me up to that point. And what happened after that was even more radical. And what the point is to share. Like I always knew I was going to share. What the point is in sharing is getting us to perceive things differently. This isn't my ideas. This wasn't my passion. God, the spirit of the world, the life, the universe, the galaxy, whatever you want to call it, computer network, superconscious highway, the field of energy basically evolved its way through my life and my body and my mind because it gave me certain things to talk about. So I'm just going to talk about them, and I'm not going to be like the third person. They're coming through my life, but you know, I'm not here to argue with anybody. Debating is the lowest form of communication. I'm absolutely open to collaboration because we're evolving. This is all about evolution on a planet, which is just a piece of the universe. We're a piece of lint, people. But there's many levels of reality, basically. And so what I've been given is like instructions on how to teach what those levels are. So you'll hear about a lot of stuff in the first book. And then I also just downloaded and put together this program called Fully Yoked. I just finished it in December, and I was going to start with my whole apparel and all my marketing until this takeover started happening. So it's all there. And so I want to offer the book. You can go on Amazon, get it hard print, or I believe it's also available on Kindle. So you can read the story. Like I said, I want to turn it into a film. And then that's just the beginning. I'm working on my second book right now, which is going to talk about a lot of worldly things. And then my third book is going to be about diet and more after that. I have 13 books coming. They're all short stories, and my paintings are on the front of each. So it's like this huge thing I'm putting together. So what I can offer to you right now, because I wasn't going to start marketing until I was done with my third book, but hey, whatever. So I have the book. It's called Endarkenment is Power, Enlightenment is Life. And then I have the program Fully Yoked. The Fully Yoked program is basically downloads. They're like two sheets of paper. It's just a mental construct to help you deliver your life differently from beginning to end. It's awesome stuff, guys. Like I can't take credit for all this. I'm not that smart. I didn't think about all this stuff. This just came through me. That's all. Yeah, lots of stuff. I just finished studying David Icke's information. I'm going to be writing about that. So this is all really good, and I guess this is just why I'm going to do this kind of commercial introduction right now about my story, because I haven't really talked about it a lot. You know, I've had people reading my book for years, and I have people reading my book right now. And I think that it's a really beautiful thing. So I look forward to sharing it with you. I look forward to sharing more and more. So yeah, basically after my hip broke, I just was like, God, what's going on with my life? I went through a process. It was about 10 months long. After that, I just took, choices in, went directions in my life, made choices, did things. And I was always just kind of observing, to see the timing and what was going to happen and evolve through it, because I knew I needed to understand more before just like talking about the story. But yeah, here it is. It's pretty radical. Might even be controversial. Things like, to me, I want to say, at the end of the day, oh, I can't even say them yet. Stay tuned, guys. Okay, aloha.